It's here first from IPR. I'm Megan McKinney. The governor's choice to lead the largest state agency may not be able to lead anymore. And later in the episode, taking an in-depth look at a proposed AI data center in eastern Iowa. It's Wednesday, April 22nd. Happy Earth Day. The governor's choice to lead the Iowa Department of Health and Human Services has been rejected by the Iowa Senate. Larry Johnson's nomination fell 6 votes short of the 34 yes votes required for confirmation. 28 Republicans voted yes, while all 17 Democrats voted no. Johnson has been interim director of the largest state agency since September after the previous director resigned. Senate Democratic leader Janice Weiner says Johnson and his staff have failed to answer legislature's questions about the agency's finances.
HHS is a behemoth of a department that impacts the lives of hundreds of thousands of Iowans every year, if not every day. HHS needs to be responsive.
Iowa Senate Majority Leader Mike Klimisch filed a motion to reconsider Johnson's nomination. Governor Kim Reynolds said in a statement she is disgusted and accused Senate Democrats of rejecting Johnson's nomination purely for political reasons. A new report gives the Des Moines area a D when it comes to air quality. Here's more from IPR's Natalie Krebs.
The American Lung Association's annual State of the Air report ranked the Des Moines area 80th in the nation for ozone pollution and 76th for particle pollution. Christina Hamilton is with the organization. She says the metro area's ranking is slightly better than last year's, but the state still has many pollutants like factory emissions and wildfire smoke.
Iowa is a leading state for renewable energy. However, there are still coal plants in Iowa that contribute to air pollution issues.
Hamilton says pollution can lead to breathing difficulties, aggravate conditions like asthma and COPD, and even cause lung cancer and heart disease. Children are more susceptible to the negative impacts of air pollution as their lungs are still developing. I'm Natalie Krebs, IPR News.
Landlords are urging lawmakers to reject a Senate proposal that would raise property taxes for multifamily housing. IPR's Katerina Stark has more.
The Senate's property tax bill would create a new property classification for apartment buildings separate from single-family homes. Landlords and real estate companies say that would raise their property taxes by about 30%, and they'd have to raise rent. Jeff Stanbro manages rental units in the Des Moines Metro. He says this would be devastating for Iowa's housing market.
In a market that is already lacking affordable rental housing options and costs at an all-time high for investors, the impact is simple. This tax increase will ultimately hurt the exact people we are trying to protect: the working class renters across Iowa, our neighborhoods in Iowa as a whole.
Some Republican senators say they were wrong to cut property taxes for apartments over a decade ago, and that needs to be reversed. House Republicans favor their own property tax proposal that doesn't have this provision. I'm Katerina Sostarek, IPR News.
The Iowa House has passed a bill making several changes to public assistance programs. The state would consider all household income in deciding eligibility for food assistance while excluding the income of high school students. The bill seeks to eliminate retroactive Medicaid coverage with some exceptions, and it would raise the income limit for employed Iowans with disabilities to qualify for Medicaid. Republican Representative Austin Harris of Moulton managed the bill's passage.
I believe this bill puts Iowans first. It cracks down on fraud, and we help the most vulnerable among us here in this state. And lastly, it ensures that Iowa is not going to be a sanctuary state for waste, fraud, and abuse.
Democratic Representative Beth Wessel-Kroschel says it's a harmful bill that would put up more barriers to accessing food and health care. The bill does not include an earlier proposal to restrict food assistance for pregnant women and babies based on their immigration status. You're listening to Here First from IPR. I'm Megan McKinney. The AI arms race has tech companies rushing to build massive, resource-intensive data centers. One proposed data center has forced a standoff between a county and a small town in eastern Iowa. We're going to take a look at that in just a moment. Welcome back. It's Here First from IPR. I'm Megan McKinney. All over the country, tech giants are racing to build massive data centers to support AI-driven demand. It's forcing local governments to reckon with how these resource-intensive projects could bring millions in regional investment. IPR's James Kelly reports one proposed data center in eastern Iowa has become the subject of a standoff between two local jurisdictions.
The town of Palo is usually quiet, but not tonight. People are filling into the local community center, where there's one item on the agenda, a Q&A with the mayor about Google's plan for a new data center. They're known to use lots of water, and the locals, like Dawn Drake, are concerned.
Is any of this water going to come from the lake? Is it going to come from the river? Also, what kind of system are they using? Do you even know that yet?
But people are also on edge because of a recent pivot by Google. After months of negotiating a plan to build the data center in Lynn County, the company is now planning to build it in Palo. The proposed site is the same, but the land would be annexed into the city. Resident Ann Brown questions Google's motive.
There is absolutely no way that this big, successful company did that unless they thought or knew they would get a better deal with Palo than they did with Lynn County. There's no reason for that.
When Google first approached Lynn County, the Board of Supervisors started drafting a data center ordinance. County Supervisor Sammy Sheets says it protects the county's residents.
We'd seen, not just here across eastern Iowa and Iowa itself, but across the country, what had happened in different places where governments were allowing these to come into place by right, just as if it was any other sort of heavy industrial usage. And we said that's not what we should be doing. We should treat this differently.
Part of the ordinance requires developers to sign an economic development agreement with the county. Sheets says the focus was getting Google, a $1 trillion company, to pay its fair share.
I wouldn't be surprised if the economic package that Google offered Lynn County was the most expensive they've ever offered a local government.
As part of the project, Google was willing to invest potentially millions each year into a special fund for things like education and infrastructure. But the deal didn't stick. Sheets says Google had issues with other parts of the ordinance, including reporting water use.
I don't want to, explain or put motive on the company, but I do think there are some things, and I know there are some things when it came to water, the water regulations in our ordinance that caused some concern.
By building the data center in Palo rather than in the county, Google won't be bound by the county's new regulations. Palo Mayor Brian Bush says the city is drafting a data center ordinance of its own.
We're going to listen to our residents and then kind of prioritize what's most important for Palo specifically and work from there.
It's not clear what exactly will be included in the city's ordinance. And Bush says many aspects of the project could still change, like how much water the data center is expected to use.
I know that our engineering team is having a lot of conversations, and I do know that there has been some numbers thrown out.
Public documents show the data center could draw 14 million gallons of water a day from the nearby Cedar River.
What I would say is, like most projects, there are a lot of just a process that has to be gone through, right, to figure out specifics. There's a ton of variables there.
Bush says Google has the right to negotiate and buy land. The question for him is about how much local control Palo can have over the project.
I think logically it makes sense to be open to that conversation as long as the right protections are in place and the right economic benefits are in place.
Google did not respond to multiple requests for comment. Lynn County officials reached out to both Google and Palo with a proposed framework that they said could work for everyone, suggesting the data center be built in Lynn County and then annexed into Palo over a period of time. It appears neither Palo nor Google has agreed to the idea. I'm James Kelly, IPR News.
And I'm Megan McKinney. Thanks for listening to Here First from IPR. Happy Earth Day. It's going to be a great day to go outside, pick up some trash, plant a tree, or however you celebrate. Have a great day.